Deconstructing. 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 Daydream. Thank you for tuning in to Deconstructing the Daydream. My name is Daniel Cannon. I'm your host. Today joining me is Reagan, otherwise known as Chromacreature. She's a local painter, muralist, body painter from the St. Pete scene. Can you tell me about your art? We have a whole visual representation behind us today.
Yes, thank you for having me. Yes, behind me are all of my paintings. Some are original, some are canvas prints. But really I like my pieces to be like big, bold, and chromatic. And so that's why I go by Chromacreature. I like my art to be like fun and invoke emotions, and I just like really bright, colorful, playful paintings, and a lot of my themes revolve around like goddess and like powerful women images. So yeah, that's a little bit about my art.
Oh, I love it. It is very colorful. Like, you said this one's RGB reactive. What's the name of her?
Yeah, so this one's called Chromatic Majesty, and like a red, green, blue light. So the RGB lights, they are interactive with most of my work, but this is very like color changing when we put the lights on it. So it's fun, and if you want to have like a little trippy element to your room or whatever, painting an RGB light over it is like a really fun way to do that.
Yeah, I have it set up in my room with like a smart bulb that flashes.
Yeah, it's fun.
So I'll have to add her to my room for sure.
She's a cutie. Boobs out.
As far as like mediums for art, is like paint your main medium? Is that what you normally express yourself through?
Yeah, so I use acrylic paint in most of my paintings. I've used watercolor in some of them, but mostly I use acrylic. It dries fast. It's easy to use when you're live painting. So some people use oil. Oil's really good for blending and everything, but I use spray paint, I use acrylic, and for murals like interior, exterior, house paint, stuff like that, and body paint, so I use airbrushing for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask about too, like how's body painting in relation to painting on a still canvas?
It is so fun and like such a challenge. It's awesome because with a canvas, it stays still and like, you're just painting on this still space. But when you're painting on a model, like they're like they're a piece of art already. And so they're talking to you, you're learning about them, like you're learning, their body really well. And so you want to paint them in a way that like complements their body and accentuates their like frame and everything, and makes them look good and makes them feel good is like the most important part. So that's been really fun for me. Is like I've worked with some really great models. Megan being one of them. So
yeah, I saw her when she was all done up. She looked great.
Yeah, it's so fun. Just connecting with models like that, and then getting to see them wear your art and then dance and perform on stage with it, seeing them, like, hearing that they feel beautiful makes me feel like I did a good job.
Yeah, no, for sure. So it's like half body positivity and then half like a more dynamic paint medium than just a still canvas.
Right, because a lot of time with body painting, it's almost like you're in like a competition on a show or something. Like, I don't want to say Hell's Kitchen, but that's the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah.
You're given this certain time frame, and then you're like, okay, the models have to be on stage dancing at this time. So you have to make sure you really like time yourself out well. You have to make sure that all of your tools are working, you have all the materials you need, and that your models have like a clear understanding. So a lot of times I like coordinate a lot with the models beforehand, and I like to sit down the models myself, my assistant, or if I'm partnering with someone painting, I like to sit down and do like a little breath work and a little meditation where we all sit down, take a few deep breaths together, and go around the circle and do affirmations, because, it's about to be an intense period of, long hours of painting, and then these models are going on the stage fully nude. You know, they have pasties and underwear, but sometimes that can be really intense, and it's good to just like all come together and connect and center yourself in that way before. So
that's good. Yeah. That's how I've been trying to start this podcast, is always like some kind of centered, but it's really just been like running around town, making sure I have everything I need, and it's hard to balance like getting that deep breath in with all of that too. So
it's good to do that, you know, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off most days, like trying to figure everything out. But when you're in the moment right before something, especially when you're creating, I feel like it's hard for me to create if I'm not in the right headspace. So doing that, doing some affirmations, being like, I am worthy, like I'm deserving, like here we are, we're gonna rock this shit, like, you know, just taking time to like be like, all right, I'm in this moment, I'm here. It's good, you know.
Yeah,
it's important.
Definitely. And you body painted at a couple shows now, or just what? Like, you did Sacred Sessions for sure.
I did Sacred Sessions. I work a lot with this group, Divine Fruit Collective, and I've body painted for them. I believe 4 times now, and I did Sacred Sessions with 2 models. But how I got into body painting was at the warehouse St. Pete. They have this competition. I believe it's, if not every month, it's bi-monthly, but they get artists and models from around St. Pete, and they have like a competition basically where they give you like 4 hours and a model, and you have to paint them, and then all of the guests there are the judges, and then people vote. And so the prize for body painting was a solo art show, and I really, really wanted that. So I was like, heck yeah, I'm gonna do this. And it was so intense because it was my first time body painting. I had never done it before, and I did everything by hand, and it takes a really long time to do that. I use an airbrush now, which is kind of like spray painting someone. But yeah, doing it by hand was really intense, and by the end of that, I was sweating, but then my model looked good, so I was happy, and then we ended up winning, and then I got a solo art show, and I was like, oh man, I don't know if I'm ever going to do this again. That was really intense. And now I'm doing it a lot, and I love it. It's fun.
Yeah.
I'm like obsessed with it. When I'm not painting or working, I am watching videos on like body painting and makeup now. So
okay, cool.
It's weird how it's transformed into that, from like, I'm never going to do it again, to like, I want to do it all the time.
Well, and you were like learning your first step too. You were doing it hand, like painstakingly drawn out.
Yeah.
Now you know a faster, more efficient way to get your like design across.
Right. Yeah. When you're painting with paintbrushes and with your fingers, and you're trying to like get around the butt cheeks and like under the butt, like everywhere, you want to be using an airbrush for that, let me just say, and you're going to get to know your model really well. So
intimately.
You're going to get in those cheeks, so you got to make them feel comfortable.
So paintings and body paintings, and you do murals too?
Yeah, I do murals. I've done a few murals. I've done one on the side of a barn near Rainbow River at this venue over there, and I've done a mural for Odyssey Music Festival, and I'm doing a mural this weekend for Lotus Gathering. So I'm excited.
That is exciting. Do you know what it's going to be already? I'm sure that takes like a lot of planning beforehand.
Yeah, I do know what it's going to be. It's going to be, I've been painting a lot of like goddess figures lately, and it's going to be 2 side profiles of women, kind of with their like heads, I don't want to say cut open, but like an empty space, and then like plants and flowers growing out of that, and deer antlers, and then there's going to be a lotus in the middle with some water pouring out of it. So it's always hard to describe.
No, you painted a good picture, like some nymph type goddess spirits.
Yeah, exactly.
From the side profile with split craniums.
Right. Yeah, like they're sharing a brain.
Okay.
Yeah, and growing plants out of it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
And I've done a couple murals at the factory as well. I have a studio over there.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. So, like, you have your own little... I've been through all those cubicles, but it's only mostly on my way to a show and, like, very drunk.
Yeah.
You have one of those cubicles set up where...
Yeah. So it's good. It's a big space. It's probably like the size of this room, maybe a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
But I share it with my friend Adriana. She goes by Violet Iris, and we use that space to create. But there's a lot of really good events at the factory, like Second Saturday Art Walk, and every first Sunday is Indie Flea. So we'll open our studio, and it's kind of like a little shop. Like we do get a lot of traffic, especially from the fairgrounds and everything. So
yeah,
it's cool having people come walk into your space, seeing you create, and potentially buy some art and taking it home.
Yeah. So that's a good like physical space to kind of like get your art out there, and like it does get a ton of foot traffic.
It does, yeah.
Do you ever go like set up at night and paint there when there's factory shows going on?
All the time.
Okay.
Yeah. Forrest came by the other day for that. That was fun. Big fur jacket elevated my studio look a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, make us look like a bunch of like Paris National. Very sleek, very fancy.
Oh, it's so fancy.
Fancy.
And then so that's like where you're getting your feet into full-time artistry, is like having the studio space. You do paintings, you do live paintings at shows.
Yeah.
They pay you to like come out and set up your easel and everything?
Yeah, so a lot of times you will get paid to live paint and everything, but that is something that I wanted to talk about too, is, kind of like the industry standard for like live painters and everything. So a lot of times, man, how do I have a lot to say about this. So,
okay, take your time.
So I lived in Tallahassee, and I went to this Revolution or stick figure show, I forget what it was, and I saw this girl painting on stage, and I have always been painting like since I was younger, but I never really was like, oh, I'm gonna be a full-time artist, or like, I was kind of drilled to like go to college, like get that corporate job, climb the ladder kind of thing. So I went to this show in Tallahassee, and I saw this girl live painting on stage, and I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. Like, I need to talk to her. I need to find out what she's doing. It was Anya Amador. So I went up to her after the show, and I was like, this is amazing. I love what you're doing. Like, I love your art. And she gave me a print, and she taught me, real quick about law of attraction. And since that moment, I kind of really dove deep into the law of attraction and spent like 2 years of my life like really like learning about that, changing my mindset and everything. And so since I saw her live painting, that kind of really inspired me to like work towards that. So I started like live painting and popping up and doing shows, and it was actually before COVID. I was live painting at this place called, I forgot what it's called. The Hive? I think it's, Hoochin Hive in Tampa. And John Summit was headlining before John Summit was like John Summit. And so I set up and I'm live painting with John Summit. I'm taking tequila shots with this dude, just being like, oh, cool. Like, I didn't even know who he was. I was just like, here we are painting. And so then I did that, and like I just love the energy of like feeding off of the music, feeding off of the crowd, and like people coming up and telling me what they see and me having what I have in mind. Like it's just like the best feeling ever, because the painting really gets all of that energy into it. And so after I did it once, I was like, man, I have to like keep doing this. So I just went hard into painting, and a lot of times when you do live paint, like at festivals and stuff, like you'll get accepted and, maybe get paid to do a mural or something. But yeah, and I'll be doing a mural for Daydream Farmers, so that's exciting.
Nice.
And yeah, so a lot of times with live painting, so here's the thing, like with anything about being an artist in the industry, you can always find someone to do it for cheaper or someone to do it for free, because there's a lot of competition in the industry. But my biggest piece of advice to like live painters and artists and like really anyone involved in the industry is just like don't like sell yourself short for really like anybody or anything, because this is how we grow. Like you want to be working with people who support the arts and support what you're trying to do and like believe in your vision and stuff. So a lot of times I'll give live painters the advice of like, hey, if you're being asked to like come out to an event and like pay a fee to come and paint, like you need to be telling them that live painting is a visual arts like performance, like you're adding value to an event, and you're adding that art aspect to it. And a lot of people do come up to you when you're painting, and they get really involved in it, and it's cool seeing how a painting progresses from beginning to end. So it's just important to like advocate for your rights as an artist, and make sure not to sell yourself short. So that's one thing that I really try to do. Like I do live painting coordinating for a few collectives out here in St. Pete, and I work with a nonprofit run by Anya Amador, Art in Session, and the main goal is to really advocate for artists' rights, advocate for fair pay, and advocate for things like that, because it's important, and more conversations need to be had around that, because a lot of times what's an event without the art, to be honest. Like if you walked into Swanee Halloween and it was just a bunch of trees and the lake, and
even with speakers, like it would be lacking so much.
Yeah, like it's a whole interactive experience. It's all lit up, there's visuals, there's murals, there's sculptures, like there's all these things, and it's advertised as a music and arts festival, but the pay for artists right now is just not where it needs to be. And so
right, especially they like all need exposure, and they all are like willing to take jobs where it's like
right. And as artists, who, if you respect yourself, like I mean we all want to do things for exposure, right? But like there comes a point where it's like, all right, not only for yourself but for the community. Like that's why people who are in the game for a long time and they're like, oh, this is my rate. If you would like me to have me at your show, this is my rate. And then productions are going to be like, well, I can find this person, he'll do it for free, we'll do it for exposure. But like that's not really cool. It's like you want to support your community, you want to support the people who have been like really working for it, and also people who are new as well. And it's just like you can always adjust your rates, you can always like work with people and like do things. And I'm just saying, like, advocate for yourself, for your rights. Like you're adding value to an event.
yeah,
That's what I'm trying to say.
no, for sure, I agree. I saw Anya, I've already talked about this actually in the first podcast episode, but it doesn't hurt to retouch. But I saw her do a seminar that was like on the same thing this year at Hula.
Yeah,
and it's like knowing your worth,
right.
Adjusting your pay scale to that, even if like it means exactly people are gonna try to lowball you and be like,
yeah, well, I can get this person for this amount, you know, but it's like,
and like that's not what it's about. When you're talking about community, like that's our whole thing is like, of course you can like strive to get Canadian artists on an Australian, but it's like let's highlight St. Pete first, or like Florida culture,
right,
rather than like shooting for just ridiculously acclaimed artists who don't need exposure or need a platform.
Right, and I agree with that. Definitely support your community and like support those artists too. Like if you love them, like support them. But I think that with community-based events and everything, like supporting your local artists, like we're all doing a little dance.
Yeah. And it's cool. It's cool to know the artist behind the art. Like
for sure.
Instead of like, I mean, of course, I have artists who are like huge and doing well off that I love their art and I support. But it's like, I'm hoping through this medium to be able to meet a lot of local and up and coming artists, and giving people a space to say, now I can kind of bump my pay up. So we'll see. Hopefully that's like the dream of it.
Woohoo! Yeah. Yes. I'm here for it.
you talked about Anya. You worked with her this year at the Mural Maze.
Yeah, so I was the art director for Odyssey Music Festival. That was back in July. So I did an art installation there called the Pyramids of Perception, where we had 6 8-foot tall pyramids, and every side to it had a mural on it. So I reached out to Anya and I asked her if she wanted to be a part of it because I, always looked up to her. And so, to my surprise, she said yes. So I was very happy. And she came out and she kind of saw like all the coordinating and all the work that I put into it. And then since then, she asked me if I wanted to be on her team for Halloween. And that then next thing you know, I'm like working hula with her, a coordinator on the mural maze, and I'm going to Secret Dreams with her, and live painting at all these festivals, and like learning the ins and out, of the industry with her. So that's been really awesome.
That's really cool. It's a small world. You were talking earlier about how it was either Revolution or Stick Figure show that you saw her at, but I have right above my bed where I sleep one of her prints of stick figure artwork.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so
she's good people.
Huge fan of her work.
Yeah, me too.
And where it meets like that reggae flavor, because she does a lot to like tribute her live show. Kind of like Morphous, but her flavor gets more, and her words. She's on the Blueberry Patch bathroom. So
I know.
Every time I'm drunk in there, I'm like, oh, nice.
Yes, I'm like, worthy. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all like so sweet. It's like, you are loved. You're worthy. You're perfect.
I know. I love it.
Yeah, that's cool. So that's like a cool mentor to have, and it seems like it's working out like well for your career.
Yeah, I think so. It's been really great. I'm learning a lot and making some good connections. So it's been a lot of fun, and I'm happy to support the bigger picture and the vision of Art in Session, the nonprofit. Advocating for artists' rights and.
What was that called again?
It's Art in Session. It's a nonprofit organization that has a huge library of workshops for artists, for anybody. A lot of those workshops that were done at Hula are in the library on the Art in Session website. So it's like subscription based, and you can make donations, and it helps keep the mural maze and like things like that running. So
cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome to know. Do you want to talk about how you got interested in art and in life in general?
Yeah, sure. So, when I was younger, my mom would always buy these craft boxes and stuff, and we would just always do them together. And my mom painted a mural of the Little Mermaid in my room when I was a kid. So she's always been very artsy and kind of encouraged me to do that. But when I saw Anya live painting and kind of realized what that was, and I've always painted and just gifted my paintings to my friends and stuff, and it was always a just for fun thing. And then the shift happened in me where I was like, I love this and I want to keep getting better at it. I want to grow. I want to, I want to paint. I want to be a muralist. I want to be a painter and an artist and go to festivals and, support the community and, be a part of making this an amazing experience. So that's kind of what inspired me.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. It's cool, when you're a little kid, finding your passions and what's you're having fun at play with, then you kind of get into adult and it's wait, that's a profitable skill at the same time as being a passion.
Right, exactly. And it's also kind of tricky too, where it's do you want to capitalize on your passion?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to turn that play into work?
Right.
So that's something to think about too. That's something I think about all the time.
Yeah. I did want to, as a younger kid, want to get into, because I could see the trend of pot legalization. I was like, I want to get into that early and be a pot McDonald's or Starbucks. Yes. But then I've long since realized it's let's keep pot as just a solely passion thing.
Right.
That I can just be, passionate about pot and
I love that.
Make other passions, hopefully, pay off.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now pot's just something I love.
Me too.
Yeah. So we kind of dug at this point a little bit, but like supporting yourself as an artist comes in a lot of different avenues, especially as like a visual artist. So you're like sometimes doing performative art, live painting, body painting, contracted like murals and stuff. Did you get like commissioned for like people like, oh, I want to have like a specific piece in mind?
Yeah, so the number one thing that I feel like a lot of artists get commissioned for are pet portraits. So it's like, this could be my style, but they still want a picture of their dog. And I'm like, okay.
How good are you at Boston Terriers? Because,
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, I'll try it. Let's do it. So, yeah, I'll do a lot of like commissions of pet portraits and stuff. And don't get me wrong, I love animals, so I'm happy to do it. But
yeah.
it's just kind of like, do you want to do it? So I feel like for me to feel comfortable enough to like quit the full-time job that I had before I took the leap to being like a full-time artist, and like I still work at a restaurant, like part-time server, bartender. So in order for me to take that leap, I had to make sure that I had multiple streams of revenue from my art. So like I'm not just making money from going and live painting or selling my paintings or selling my prints. Like now I'm going and I'm body painting, or I'm doing murals, or, you know, just different things, or like coordinating events and stuff. So just, you have to be creative about it and, you know, think of different ways to make money from, you know, from art, because you know, you can make a lot of money from paintings and everything, but at least for me, like, you know, starting out and stuff, you need multiple streams of income from that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You have an Etsy shop too?
I do, yeah. I'm Chromacreature on Etsy.
Cool. And we
Yeah.
can buy prints and stuff there.
Yeah, I have my prints there.
Cool.
I'm working on, I want to update and upgrade and do a better website and everything, but that's the thing. Like when you're an artist, you gotta figure out your marketing, your website, and everything. I've never been a tech person, you know.
Me neither.
Yeah.
And I'm learning video editing, social media presence,
Right.
like all kinds of whack shit where it's like I like talking to people. It's
Right.
just that's the part that like comes through with it.
And that's why you rely on your community.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and that's how I'm doing. I'm looking around at every friend I got, and I'm like, how can you help me?
Right. Yeah.
Not in a like selfish way, but like,
No,
how can we
no.
help each other?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what community is. That's what friends are for, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Well, thank you for helping me as a friend.
thank you for helping me.
Yeah.
Mutually beneficial. I forget the word for that.
Yeah, like a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah.
Symbiotic
Yes.
shit.
Yes.
And you sell your art in person too at that at the studio at the factory.
Mm-hmm. I sell my art in person a lot. Most of the time when I'm live painting, I'm also like have a table there set up with my art stuff,
so that you can kind of vend out the back door, so to speak. And,
yeah. So when you're
cool.
live painting, when I'm live painting, what I always advocate for is a table or a small table to where I can sell my art or sell prints. Like let's say I'm live painting for an event that doesn't like have the budget to pay a live painter or something. Or even if they do, you know, I'm always asking, can I bring a table to like sell my art and sell my prints? Because when you're painting at an event, like, yeah, it's fun and you're listening to the music and like you're feeling the energy of the crowd and everything. But when you start doing that, like maybe 2 days a week and stuff, and you get there at 6 o'clock and you leave at 3 a.m., shit is hard work.
Yeah.
You know?
And you're kind of having to keep your head like screwed on a little more so than if you were just.
Oh yeah, you
out.
can't like I mean, I personally don't like to get like spun or like drunk at events and stuff, just because like I'm there representing like my brand and everything.
Right.
And I like to have fun.
Oh.
But I like to make sure that I can carry my art out at the end of the night.
And like the fashion's more important than the night of fun.
I don't want to ruin a painting by like being out of my mind. You know, don't get me wrong, like, you know, some things can definitely help spark creativity.
I feel like an issue too in live painting, and I could be wrong, but like I would be so concerned, not even about just myself ruining it, but it's like external elements of drunken people bumping, shoving, like.
Yeah, Spunions, if they see paint and a paintbrush out and you're not in front of your easel, like some people will pick up a paintbrush and try and paint on your painting because they just don't know. Like I've seen that happen before. It's crazy.
All the cogs in the brain aren't spinning.
Yeah,
right?
and then I've seen people be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I thought this was a community painting, like at the blueberry patch."
Yeah.
And it's like, "Oh no, honey," but. A lot of the painting, paint can wipe off it before it dries, but you got to be watching your stuff.
Yeah.
And people can steal your stuff too. It doesn't happen a lot in like this community and everything. I don't think it's ever happened to me in this community, but you got to be aware. Like
and that's something you're working on and spending like hours and time. And you don't want it to just get like fucked up with one.
Yeah.
Stroke.
And you want to like be professional too and everything. It's a competitive industry. And if you're like, not there, like physically there, but mentally not there, like people are going to be like, well, I don't know if I can trust you to like show up on time or set up a professional setting or whatever. And, maybe I think kind of like, I think very like professionally about it. And I know a lot of people have different opinions and everything. That's just that's what I like to do, that's what I prefer. I like to work with people who are easy to communicate to and that I can trust to like, show up and, do what they were hired to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though it's like attached to a party community, it's still like, you like people on time.
Yeah, exactly.
Showing up.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I feel like I'm late all the time. But yeah, just like kind of just being professional, like you guys know, like you can't like throw events and stuff and like be messed up, you can't. Yeah, because during events, so many little things like when you're throwing events, you kind of have to know like at least a few things are going to go wrong.
Yeah.
Or like a few things are going to show up that are going to like not be unexpected, and you have to like be there and be sharp and be like, all right, how am I gonna work around this? How am I gonna think on my toes? So you gotta. It's the same thing with painting and setting that up and everything, because sometimes you're like, what space am I working with? Who am I gonna be next to? What's the lighting situation? Yada yada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool though. And then it's cool to have been seeing you like paint around town more. We just saw you twice this weekend, so that was cool.
That was awesome. For late night radio, Park Breezy and Sun Squabby. Sun Squabby is like one of my favorite bands, so that was like really, really cool.
Top tier.
Yeah.
Your sister had us at a little table right in front of you. Oh my god, I've never felt more like a fucking boss than that night.
You like with the hats and the jackets, like you guys look good. I was like, okay.
That was Diego just dressing me up. I let him just throw whatever on me.
You be dressing.
It was fun. So you've touched on this too, but I'd like you to go more in depth on like where you get this inspiration of like divine femininity, feminine spirits.
So I mean,
besides just being a woman.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think as women, like we're really like tapped into like our emotions, and for me, I really take my emotions and I'll get ideas based off of that. So like this one is about like, finding that like mutual respectful like partner, and like having it be like a calmness and like not like a stormy, like wavy, tumultuous thing, like a respectful, meaningful like connection, like I'm already whole, but you're a great addition.
You fit the piece.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of it's about that. This one was a play on the Lover's Tarot card, so which has those skeletons kissing on it, but this one is called Rose Colored Lovers. So this one is about how a lot of times we can see relationships through like rose-colored glasses and everything, and so it's like, what are you really seeing? Are you thinking black and white, or are you seeing through rose-colored glasses? And most of that is found in between in the gray areas and everything. So things like that. And this one is about like really freedom and self-expression and just like, being proud and like, vulnerable and still like fierce and strong and colorful. And it's about like being yourself and being so like proud of who you are, and like being colorful and weird and fun, and not caring what anybody thinks. Shiny.
I like her a lot.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
The background is actually I took sunflowers and I stamped them in paint, and then I stamped them to the canvas, and kind of looks like bullet holes in a way, and I kind of like that, but also sunflowers.
Sunflower bullet holes.
Yeah, kind of like that.
I like her a lot.
Thank you.
What else do we got? Do we want to see some of these down here?
Okay.
This is the one I saw you working on at Vinoy.
Yeah, so you know this one. This one is called Entangled Contortionist. And this one is about, not trying to like fit yourself in a box. But a lot of people that talk to me about this one say that they see like a very like sexual undertones in this. So a lot of times when people come up and ask me like the meanings behind my paintings, I like to ask them what they see first, because
Yeah, that's what you did for me with this one.
yeah, I like to ask them what they see, because if I tell you my vision, art is subjective. So if someone connects with your piece, like, everyone's taste in art is different. So if someone connects with your piece, it's just like that much more special, because, everyone is different. So I like to hear what other people think. And, if they really want to know what I think, then I'll tell them. But sometimes I keep it kind of general.
You gotta let their brains like form an idea first.
Yeah. I like when people connect with it and they have their own meaning to it, because I know what my meaning is. And if they really want to know that, fine. But like art really is about like, what does it mean to you?
Yeah.
So.
And like the duality of it already has its own set meaning in Reagan's eyes.
Yeah.
So it's like, now that it's out for an audience.
Yeah.
What the fuck is it to you?
Right, exactly. And sometimes I'll like come with a painting and I think I'm painting this one thing, and then like people will keep coming up to me during the show and being like, I see this, or like I see this here, or whatever, this color is really speaking to me. And I'm like, like it makes you think differently, and people see different things in your art than you do, because sometimes I'm so close to it, like staring and painting, that like you gotta step back and look at it through like you gotta stand back and just look at it differently.
Yeah.
So that's a really cool part about art.
Definitely helps to get a different perspective sometimes when you've been so like focused in.
Right.
I definitely saw something sexual in that. The second I was like,
I know.
She's getting like fucked up against the like front end of the painting.
I know, I see that too, for sure.
But she's breaking out of a box. She's like a mine.
Right. I see mine.
Yeah. She got it done off.
This one is definitely sexual.
Yeah, it's hard to like mask that one.
Yeah. Yeah, so this one was for a fantasy art show that I was asked to be a part of. And so this one, the theme was like dark fantasy, but I don't really have a lot of dark pieces. So this one is kind of like, they got a little look in their eyes, little lovers. So
her color's mischievous. It's like a little dark purple woman like that. Like I would be like, I couldn't trust your intention.
She's like the devil woman emoji.
Yeah, there it is.
The devil emoji.
That was like the programming that led my brain to think that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was fun.
With like a lotus flower in the back?
Yeah, lotus in the back. I'm probably going to go back in and brighten them up and highlight them. I actually painted this one, and I pulled an all-nighter painting it just because time management kind of stuff sometimes. with the local art shows, I'm like, oh, dang, I forgot that was tomorrow. And so, yeah, that's how I painted this one. But sometimes, like, it's good to challenge yourself like that. And,
Yeah.
it's fun to speed paint sometimes. It makes you really, like,
See what comes out.
have to let go and, focus on the...
Not overanalyze each little step too and say, I gotta fix some shit happen.
Exactly. But then it is tricky, like, painting something at night and then seeing it in the daylight and then being like, you gotta make sure your paintings look good in all different kinds of light.
Yeah.
This is an earlier piece of mine. This one's like, sorry.
Yeah, okay.
This one's very like color block and, she's contortioned and everything. So this one's called Protector.
Yeah.
Kind of like self-explanatory. I feel like, I wanted it to kind of look like she was like a mother. She's like a mother figure, like Mother Nature. And she's like bent over and like contortions and like trying to protect. Like I wanted it to look like the earth is like her baby, and so she's been like battered and like everything, just trying to like protect the earth, and just kind of like clouded and like exhausted and just like what more can I do? Like the earth is like, that's her heartbeat, and she's trying to protect her baby. So environmental piece.
I like it a lot.
Thank you.
So outside of like local artists and artists in the scene, like the festival scene as a whole, like do you take art from any of like or art influences rather from like any other famous artists or any like, this one looked very Picasso to me for some reason. Like her face looks very just something I would see of Picasso's. I don't know.
I didn't like go to school for art or anything, and I truthfully, I don't know a lot of art history, but I would like to learn. So a lot of times I am kind of just influenced by like what's around me.
Yeah.
And there's some really good artists that I like around here that like I follow on Instagram that I am really like inspired by. So, as far as like big famous artists, like, I mean, I like Dolly a lot, but I don't think my paintings look anything like Dolly. No, they don't.
I mean, like, that's that kind of just in like the landscape.
Yeah.
But he's not like painting water landscapes either, so it's really just like a whole different shot.
Right. There's artists I like, but like, I don't know. I just like painting like what I feel like I see in my head and like trying to get it onto canvas, and that's
Well, that's a big struggle being an artist too. Is like the more you would study art history, the more it's only gonna kind of in a way like impact your own authentic art voice by like judging yourself against the greats of art history. Same with like literature, music, and you can go at it with like a blank slate, or with the comparison of every other great who's ever been, or some balance in the middle.
Yeah, right. And like I'm sure there's pros and cons to each. Yeah.
Exactly. You on one hand you'd be more knowledgeable about the evolution of styles leading to a modern standpoint, but then it's also like it could just impact the like intuition you have as an artist, which is like trust my own voice.
Right.
Don't have imposter syndrome. You talked about that, but you could like expound on that. Like, it's hard as an artist to not feel like, why the hell am I good enough to wake up and pick this as a lifestyle?
Seriously, because like I was saying, art is subjective. So like, someone could look at my painting and be like, man, that I don't like this at all. And then another person can walk by and like it connects with them, and like, they cry about it. Like it really is crazy, but imposter syndrome is definitely something that I've struggled with a lot. Like especially when I was first starting and like doing live painting and everything, I felt like I would be set up next to these other live painters that were so amazing, and I would just sit there and look at their work, and like they'd have a lot of people coming up to them, and I'd be like really insecure, and like I didn't really know anything about prints or anything yet, and so I'm like going to FedEx and like printing my work there, and like when you start, it's scary. Like, creating art is one thing, and then putting it out there, it's like you're showing people, like, your soul. Like, this is like your baby. And so people are obviously going to judge that and, hopefully connect with it. And, one thing for me with imposter syndrome is just knowing, like, do you like it? And so you have to ask yourself that, and then kind of just like, I really work on like law of attraction, like positive thinking. And, I've struggled with like depression and anxiety a lot in the past, and learning about law of attraction really helped me, like kind of what you think and what you speak creates your reality. So I started really trying to incorporate more positive thinking and positive speaking, and having more positive self-talk and everything. And I think that's really important to have as an artist, just like believing in yourself and knowing that you are worthy, even if you are starting, even like not comparing, because like we can all learn things from each other, and like respecting someone else's talent, being like, wow, their technique with this is really great, and maybe I could learn this from them. And, it's just that shift of, you have to believe that you're worthy, and you have to be. I do fake it till you make it all the time. I'll go into events, or like I'll go into something like even this podcast. Like, I was so nervous.
I have no clue what the fuck I'm doing. I'll promise you that.
Yeah, but like nobody knows what they're doing. Like, we're all just doing the best that we can. And so like really just treat people with kindness and fake it till you make it, and believe in yourself, and envision your highest self, and be like, what do I want to be, and what steps can I take to be that right now? Like, can I think like how I want to be in 5 years? Can I adopt that mentality right now? Like, and just going off of that, and yeah, fake it till you make it.
I think you're doing a good job faking it, girl. Honestly, when I see you out and so professional, I'm like, fuck. It makes me intimidated, because I'm like,
God, stop, really? That's crazy.
Yeah, straight professionalism. I mean it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm like usually like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, and then like I can't hear anybody. So I need to start wearing earplugs at shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Oh.
I like loud music though, so.
Me too.
I just can't hear anymore.
It's a show when we're aging, they're gonna be like, what?
Yeah.
When we're 60.
When I'm 40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
right now.
Your art has a lot of female features and like body beauty. You also have a lot of like nature kind of wrapped in, flowers, lotuses, sunflowers. You're a big nature guy?
Yeah, definitely. Like growing up, like what my family and I would always do for fun, we'd go like camping, go hiking, and I love flowers. I actually thought about being a florist for a little while, and realized I have to wake up really early, so I gave up on that. But yeah, I love flowers, and like, they all have different beautiful meanings. So that piece over there is sorry, I know, weird angle for you.
Yeah, I can spin around on this one.
That one is roses I took and pressed them to the canvas and kind of gave her like a bleeding rose crown, and that one's representative of just like a warrior spirit and looking forward with like compassion and grace despite the weight you may carry on your shoulders, or like the thorned crown you may wear around your head. So
I like it. She's like a female Jesus.
Yeah. I call that one female Jesus.
They're all good.
Thank you.
Johnny Mall?
I think so, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
You gotta plug in your social media and your Etsy, Chromacreature at both.
Chromacreature for both, yeah. Chromacreature on Instagram, Chromacreature on Etsy, Chromacreature on Facebook, Chromacreature on... I think that's it.
Okay. Or just come see her at a live painting in St. Pete or in the region.
For sure. I'm always running around.
Nice.
Do you want to tell them that you're the art coordinator?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm the art coordinator for Daydream Farmers, so super happy to be on the team, and working with everyone has been a pleasure so far. So
Nice.
yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, excited to work with you more.
With you.
And I want one of these prints for my wall. I gotta pick the right one now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well,
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. I think it's probably gonna be her, but alright. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.